before I introduce me, I want to introduce uh, our two guests. Well, one main guest, one guest who's not always on with me. So I have Ariella and Melissa. And so Ariella is my wife. She is one of our design lead. She does everything behind the scenes at XtraMile. She basically carries our culture, our look, and then also our client relations typically are mended together by her while me and Cameron destroy the rest of the house. But in between that time period is that we actually have a very special guest today. So Melissa Mathieu, she is probably the most humble designer lady I know. Not only that, I would say one of the best overall humans that I know. And her husband and her have been they're small business owners. They have a couple kids, and they're like they just are just like steady and consistent at it. And so Melissa, can you just share a little bit of who you are, what you do?
I'm Melissa Matthew. I'm an interior designer. I have my bachelor's degree in interior design. I've been in the industry for about 13 years. I mainly focus on residential design. I've dabbled in commercial before. Um, I have kitchen and bath background, so I know cabinets fairly well, but I mainly do full service, so start to finish, drawings, renderings, selections. Occasionally for Ariella and Justin, I will do drawings and renderings for them for projects, and we have teamed up a few times on just doing a full scope. So I'm excited to see our most recent bathroom. We'll get photos of soon. So.
Yeah. But real quick, I like I said, Ariella, I can you just explain a little bit about the type of design and style that Melissa carries along and why we like to partner with her? I'm gonna share a couple photos because like I said, she's way too humble.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
stuff that whenever we get an invite on a project, it's always the coolest thing ever.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Like Melissa is so much fun to work with. She is able to capture what our clients want, and then she takes it up a notch from there and adds her own aesthetic into it. And it always feels welcoming. It's got a touch of fun and color and pattern, and she really slows down to listen and just give it that extra designer touch that I know that we definitely need because especially when we're working together, we'll bring her in and be like, "Hey, this is what we're working with. How can we take it up a notch?" And then her input is really valuable, and we would highly recommend working with her before you reach out to a contractor because she can save you a lot of
um, one thing I was gonna say, I think from the different designer and people that we have kind of gotten to know. One thing I really enjoy about Melissa, she's really relatable. Like I've seen you design people's spaces that are just starting out in a home. I've seen you design people's spaces that have been in a home. And so I think that's kind of something that makes you really stand out is you have like this really beautiful classic I would say a timeless feel um for the education that you have and then that like you have an educated approach to it but yet it's not disconnected from like regular Minnesota life and I feel like a lot of design people that I speak to they're either one of two things their design's cool but it's not like a relatable to the current area that we live in. I don't know if you ever had that before, but people make it feel like a Texas house, and you know
Yeah.
they're trying to take a Chip and Joanna Texas feel, and they're gonna force it into a 1980s Rambler in Big Lake, Minnesota. So I think with 8 foot ceilings, so I think that's something that speaks a lot about like your listening skills. Is I think a lot of times um people in the design world they're always very kind, right? So it's not that, but it's like um you can get I feel like a client's voice can get overpowered really easily because what's the number one thing they say? I just can't imagine this. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So anyways, how do you like for you tell me just a little bit more about like what ended up how did you end up getting into this part of the career path that you're in?
Um, Honestly, I've wanted to be an interior designer since I was 8. My mom used to work for a huge construction company, And they used to do take your daughter to work day, and she didn't know where to put me, so she threw me in the interior design room, and I just kind of fell in love. So I've known for a long time that this is what I wanted to do, and I kind of just I I guess I'm good at it. I have a good sense of style and direction and like you were saying too with my schooling, my bachelor's degree, I learned to adapt to different people's sense of style, so I can go super modern or super farmhouse, and just kind of work with what they're looking for as a client versus I try to push for do it. This is your home, so do what's gonna make you feel good in your space versus what you see everywhere else. But yeah.
Which is kind of cool because like you came from one of the top design firm places in the US, right? Um, from what I remember, I don't remember the name of it, but like you partnered with, and worked for them. So it's kind of fun that I don't think people are realizing in, whereabouts in middle of Minnesota we have like somebody that's really got so many aspects of the design world.
Yeah, when you say it like that, yeah, I guess you're right.
And
I
you
have
partner with like one of the top remodeling contractors in all of central Minnesota that is on well now relocated to 244th Street, Big Lake. On that street, definitely the best
Yeah,
contractor.
it's been
Anyway,
yeah, it's I've done a few different companies I've worked for, so I've learned a little bit from each. I've worked at Home Depot where I'm doing like big box to like a high-end remodeler and general contractor and commercial design I've done, so I've got
well,
a well verse of different aspects, I guess, in the
to
industry.
show that exact thing, I'm really excited to share this. So we've actually, I think a lot of people know us for this project. If I get reached out to, when I get reached out to, a lot of people always ask for the catalog version of this project because they just think it's so fun. And
Mhm.
maybe we should go back to this home and do like a full out video. I know we have some good videos. Maybe we should release some of those again. But um, Ariella and Melissa Melissa did the 3Ds on this, but I think it was more of a collaboration for both of you to get into this house here. But I totally forgot real quick. I forgot one thing. I'm so sorry. Ariella, who are we? I didn't even
Oh, okay.
didn't
You
get
want you want to
sorry.
so we can put that in the intro?
Yeah, she
Okay.
has a book.
No,
So
this is not about the book. Um, yeah, so XtraMile we do full home custom remodels and we can also do additions and our strength lies in just amazing trade partners that we have. We have an in-house crew, but also we work with, same electrician and cabinet builders and plumbers time and time again. So we've built a pretty good relationship back and forth with everybody that um, helps us continue to serve our clients. And this is where working with Melissa is such a like invaluable asset because she brings so much, like a tremendous amount of value. And beyond just the beautiful aesthetics of the after photos, just the process, she makes it so amazing. And I've learned how to be a little more organized from the way she makes her like presentations. I was like, goals, this is so cool. But that's, yeah, just a little bit about us. Justin, I like to say he's the brains behind the operation. He works really hard, and he does a ton of work behind the scenes, but he does our sales and our marketing with our team member Louie. They are the ones that make it all happen,
huge
and
shout out to Louie.
huge shout out to Louie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'll just ask my opinion here and there, and I'm like, let's add a color here, or let's make it a little bit prettier, or change the font here. But they come up with all the ideas on what to do and how to meet the clients we all would love to work with. So, does that
Awesome.
answer your question?
Yeah, that's fine. All right.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and let's get in this. So here's this project, right? So it's downtown Minneapolis. The house is late 1800s, I believe. And so it's been touched up and remodeled a lot. And so Melissa helped us kind of with the color schemes and the 3D elevations and whatnot. And here's their puppy, right? Sheba at the time. Who was there. So kind of walk me through a little bit when you look at the space, what first popped out and what things you felt like the client, what was some of the questions that really that the client wasn't asking but they were trying to say? I don't know if that makes
Are,
sense.
are you talking to me? Who are you
Both of
talking to?
you. Both of you. It's a
I
I don't know.
I can start on that and
Yeah.
then like then have Melissa come and add there because so when we first met with the client, it looked even a little bit different than this. I think even those really pretty homey colors like were not there. I think it was maybe all like white
Yeah, it was all
possibly.
white.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was all white when we actually met our clients. So oddly enough, like with our final remodel, we added some of that warmth back. And you can't tell, but the floor is like cork. It's like a floor, cork board floor. But we're meeting with the clients after, Justin had met with them a couple times. I got the opportunity to go and meet with them and just getting to know them and walking through their house a little bit, just realizing that they were the best. They absolutely had this love for antiquing and thrifting, and they both loved it. And they have the cutest little like collections and almost like this um well-traveled eclectic sort of vibe that I just fell in love with. So we talked about colors and wanted to lighten it up and I was like we've got to add some sort of pretty color to these cabinets and the husband he was like wearing this like salmon sort of shirt and I'm like that color is without having seen these pictures, right? I'm like, that color is what this space needs to warm it up. So I was like, what if we do your cabinets that color? Like, what if we do it that color or something like that just to add a little bit of warmth? And they were like, I don't know if they were thinking white before, but anyways, that's how it
Yeah, I
started with that.
found like an actual.
Yeah, so it just was lacking some life. So Justin had come up with a layout for the kitchen and things that would work. And where Melissa made the magic happen here is like we brought her the proposed design, our proposed, we didn't have all the selections. I just had some ideas of where I wanted to go with this. And she worked really hard to like make sure that the layout we were looking at happened. She made like the hardest working island in the world happen and helped us figure out how to add a hutch in there and a little drop zone area. So she was the one that kind of brought everything together. Like these are the colors I want, these are the accents, and I have a vision for it, but I need help with the cabinet layout. So can you
And I
can you
wanted to mention real quick is that our client Lori, right? She is a brilliant designer. I mean, like clothing designer. She does clothes for like a large corporation and like kids clothes, adult. So she travels the world. So I think that that was something that was really cool because I kind of she did have a lot of expression and say in certain things, but I think it was cool because she was pretty she released it,
Yeah, I was so
there's certain things like that she asked for, but then she kind of released it, and I think that's like the power of the team, right, is like the expression, and I know they can nail it, and that was a really cool thing. But anyways, Melissa, yeah, kind of bring me through your like when you started doing like the 3Ds and stuff, kind of talk about the spacing at all, or if you remember. I know it's been a little bit.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just how can we maximize the space with what we have? Because like when you look at those before photos, there's so much unused space.
Mhm.
And it just lacked a lot of character in those older homes in Minneapolis. You want to keep that character, I believe, versus
same,
just
yeah.
tearing it all out and do all
All
the,
in favor, say aye of keeping character
I
in houses.
yes.
Aye.
So and instantly I was drawn towards the little dining room area in the back with that unique arched opening, and I was just like, this is a beautiful space, I thought. So, like adding that shelf above the banquette area for like additional plants or storage, what they have in the after photo, but. Um, yeah, just really maximizing the storage, adding that built-in hutch and keeping the character alive with those custom cabinets. I think it turned out beautiful.
I wanted to bring this up. I think this is the interesting thing is that we get hung up on the stories of certain things. And one of the things I remember talking to them about is notice there's no island here, right? Because They had like a they had a rolling island. Actually, I don't know if it's in the photos, but they had a rolling island, and the problem was is the fridge, no matter what we did, because this is only like 10 feet long, I mean wide, that opening, no matter what type of island we did, as soon as we did some type of cabinetry on the other side of the wall, that full cabinet, nothing would work.
Yeah.
And they were I remember we were kind of convinced that we'd have to do a peninsula over here
Yeah.
to get the cabinetry space because there is a lot of space, but one of the things is to not make it cluttered. So that's kind of my favorite part about this kitchen is like one, you can live in it, right? That it's still a reasonable it's not small, but it's on the smaller side. But it's not like you're trying to hide stuff. You're displaying what you're proud of.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like a really key thing, right? So there's this cute coffee bar area that has a countertop on it, like display. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, but with that, Melissa, do you remember we spent quite a bit of time on just
the
that like built-in
trash rollout.
hutch? For that built-in hutch, like we couldn't do I think it was, gosh, the depth at the end was like 18 or 15 inches.
Yeah, I think it was
So,
almost shallower than that,
oh, was it
just to
even?
account for the walkway. I don't remember though, but yes.
Yeah, it
No,
was.
it's basically yeah, that's 16 inches.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then we had to be really intentional about every little detail on it because we also wanted some drawers, but drawer slides will only, the ones that our cabinet makers have will only, be so long or whatever. I don't know the right term for that.
Hmm.
So we had to think about all those little things to make sure it looked great with the space, but also, like you were saying earlier, it was functional. Like you'd still use it and you can still walk around comfortably and it doesn't feel crowded.
Hmm. It's definitely designed with intention. You can
Yeah.
tell with the after photos.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also like they one of their desires, right? They have a lot of family that lives out of state. So they wanted a house that they could host people during the winter because they have a beautiful backyard. And then during the winter time there's nowhere to, besides the living room, there's nowhere to really hang out. Um all right. So one thing I did want to talk about is the a, a lot of times the space here, right? The what is that called? The sink, Ariella. If you want to go through a little bit of that sink and window situation and the corner cabinet. This is something that a lot of people like they they would have just given us like if we went to a regular shop type thing, this would have had like a 45-degree angle cabinet and they would have used up all the way to the window. Can you kind of talk through that a little bit?
Yeah, I just remember we wanted it to feel open and not crowded, but it was actually like again, we had the general feel and the footprint that we could use, but I really had to rely on Melissa. Like I told her little things like, "Hey, I want to go plaster hood here. I want it to look like this." So I had my little like mood board of exactly the things that I wanted there, and then I was like, I don't know exactly how to make this corner work. So she's the one that had to do all the math, figure out that detail, and did that. Like ended up putting that appliance garage right below that cabinet on the very left there on the corner, and it just works really well and still gives you that countertop space on the side of the sink to do dishes comfortably.
That's why I'm such a big advocate for 3D renderings because these clients are spending so much money on these projects and to be able to see what it's going to look like and the potential of it, it's just such a value to the whole process. Um, yeah.
But my point was is I think one of the reasons why this one, this project, right, specifically, like the color scheme, I wanted to get into that, is it earth tones, um, the it's so strategic in the way that it's warm home, but it doesn't it's not showing like antiquity in a negative sense where it's like you go to an old house and you feel old. You know what I mean? Like I
What what we ended
don't
up
know if the
doing for
language.
this Well, after the design and the layout was pretty much finalized,
Yeah.
and like Melissa helped us add, a cabinet under the little window in the right corner there of that picture, a little cabinet, another drop zone cabinet in the entryway. Then we were ready to finalize our colors because we had our tile, and then I had a general palette
We
of what we
didn't even
wanted
talk
to.
about that tile. It's just
Yeah, I love that
so
tile.
cool.
Went to like 4 or 5 places before our friends at
Tile shop.
Grand, no, Floors of Distinction.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, my rep helped me and he was really awesome. So after we had the pretty much the layout and the design figured out, then I reached out to a friend of mine who worked for Sherwin-Williams for lots of years and it's really awesome at colors. And I had these colors, but not in this exact palette picked out. And I was like, this is the tile, this is the wood sample, this is the brass. It's not right exactly. Like I need your opinion and feedback. And it was as much as she's like, just go a little bit lighter here, a little bit darker here. And she helped me like create that
Yeah.
the palette that just flowed seamlessly that really then complemented all the cabinet design that Melissa had helped us with and I think that tied it in. So it was like a team effort.
Mhm.
How does that work, Melissa? Like when are you like mainly going off of like between a little bit of schooling and science, or are you going more towards like what you remembered seeing throughout the projects?
As in when it comes to selecting paint colors?
Yeah, it's a big part.
Yeah, it's hard because as Midwesterners, you tend to go towards neutrals. So
Yeah.
as a designer, I try to push people into colors that are going to make them happy and bring them joy and like you walk into a space and it instantly like boosts your
Because we
spirit
only
a
have
little
four
bit.
months to
So
live out in summer. Good point.
yeah, bring the outside in because as you know in Minnesota, you get those seasonal depressions at time when you're stuck inside all the time. So bringing those colors into your home, I personally think it really helps. So to try and push clients to go outside of their comfort zone a little bit, and as you can tell with that project, you just by looking at it, you instantly feel something from it versus just the typical white, grays, blacks. It
Yeah.
just has a different feeling towards it.
Yeah. All right, I got a couple questions before we close, and
Okay.
most of these are probably mine, like personal questions I'm gonna mask in
Okay, sweet.
Okay. So, well, maybe we'll do this quick. So, Melissa, when you find a client, right, and you know it's a really good fit, you think of some of the favorite designs and people, kind of walk me through who is your ideal client that you feel like you can really help. And then also, what's kind of that process to bring it from what we saw to a reality.
Yeah. Um, I'd say my ideal client would be someone that trusts me. They're hiring me for a purpose, so to allow me just to use my expertise and pull in other trades and get that valuable information that we need for the project and allow me to design because that's what I'm there for. And be open, have an open mind to different design styles or like just having an open mind to something that they thought was going to be, but could be something completely different. Just being able to allow me to transform their space, like just to have a client that gives me full reign and full trust. It's just truly, it makes the whole
Mhm.
process a lot easier and faster. You can really tell when someone allows a designer to design when they look at the end result of a space. And just having fun with their space. I'm also a big thrifter and antiquer, so like having those pieces that have value or meaning to them, they have a story that they can share and use those in your space, and not be afraid to use color or pattern and just pull whatever you can from those spaces, just so they make you feel good and bring you joy in your life, like I was saying before. And then what was the other question?
Yeah, the other question is like when you're going through the discovery process, kind of, take me real quick from someone hears about you,
Mhm.
like the discovery call, right?
Yeah, so typically, like with a whole house remodel, I start with a discovery call, just a quick 15-minute one, just to kind of get on the same page. I always request the clients to send me photos of their space so we can walk through it together over the phone, and just get an idea of what they're looking for. From there, if I think it's a good fit, we'll do a 90-minute design consultation. So I'll come out to the home, take those measurements, take notes, walk you through the space. Um, I also will have clients fill out a questionnaire prior to the design consultation that goes more in depth of their design style, who lives in the space, what, like, do you have pets, that type of thing, what inspires you. And then from that, I like to gather fabrics, tile, flooring, so I can bring that along with to the design consultation because that allows me to start get a better sense of their design style and really they can touch and feel and start that design process. And then from there, I'll go back, put together a scope of work, contract, and if everyone agrees on everything, we move forward with the design process. So I like to start with a concept design. I phase it out. Phase one is concept design. So that is the beginning stages, your top-down bird's eye view, a floor plan, basic 3D renderings, and then pulling together a few options like two different style plumbing fixtures, two or three different light fixtures, just so I can make sure I'm on the right path
Hmm.
when pulling or making those selections. And then once that's approved, that's when I kind of pass it off to like you guys or a GC and get that initial bid because I personally don't like to design unless it's requested and there's unlimited budget. I like to pass it off to a trade to get those like the overall price point of the budget of the
Yeah.
home, and then I have allowances to work off of so we can try and stay in that overall budget so they're not shocked at the end. So then once I have those allowances to work with, I'll go and make those. The phase two is the detailed design. So that's when they're the more technical drawings, cabinet elevations, those 4K renderings like you saw. And then I always do 1 to 3 options of each different item that I need to select material wise. And then we kind of get together in your space. I bring it all along with and to present in space so you can see it in that natural light. You can live with it a little bit, see if you're liking it in your environment. Um, and then from there, we move forward and the ball starts rolling, demo, whatnot. Yeah, and then the overall project ends and the photo shoot to wrap it up. So it sounds like a lot, but to me, it's easy. As my son says, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
And when you're working with Melissa, it she makes it feel like it's not overwhelming.
Right.
She has a process and she's so like Dustin saying so humble and chill, but she's so organized and at the same time so creative, and so aware of our clients' needs and like even budgets, right? But she just walks you through it. So you're just following along and going back and forth. But yeah, I think
Mm.
yeah, when somebody gives you the rein, it's pretty powerful because you're like,
Yeah.
there's, regardless of the budget, there's so much I can do within a budget. Just give me the reins, trust me, and I got you, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's one other thing too, right? Is that I really enjoy about when I get to see things that you've done or projects that we are not like some projects we're just not always a good fit for, right? And I feel like there's sometimes that I'll get design or drawings from a client and I look at it and I'm just like, oh man, I am going to become the enemy accidentally. And I think most times, every time that I get to partner and meet somebody that you've already been working with, you've already been educating them along the way. A lot of people, they don't have the self-esteem to do that or the courage. And so I think that's something that helps me. I mean, on our side, right? Because we're destroying their house for like 6 months or whatever. That for me that just reassures me when I get to meet with somebody. Like nothing hurts more for me because I know how long and hard people have put time and energy into these things. And I've done quite a bit of projects now in this ballpark range where it's like I come in, I get a design from somebody that they paid from Temu or whatever, and then I
Did
like, hey, this is the thing. This is, you're 180 grand over what you think it is. And so I think that's one of the things is that finding somebody like you, slowing down and just having that actual courageous conversation and lower that anxiety because at least when I think for me, it's a really cool thing to have both of you. It's fun because like I need both sides, right? I have Ariela's creativity of like not I don't know what you even call it, lady who doesn't wear shoes style some days, and then some days it's like elevated, elegant, um, kind of complex. And then I have Melissa on the other hand that, in my opinion, right, you have the creative, sustainable style, but also she can the renderings, yes, but it's also the ability to bring in that client color scheme together. So I
and
think
all the technical skills that it
right.
takes to bring it together.
Right. So and like I
Yeah.
said, it's a client personality, right? Some people, they're pretty more or less they have these types of boxes and rules. So Ariella is a great person to hang out with because she will pull you out of that, right?
Mhm.
And there's other people that are way the heck, like me, that like there's like a bazillion ideas. So you need a voice of reason that won't shut you down. That's Melissa, like that can kindly calm you and be like, that was a really decent idea, and we're not doing it. Versus like Ariella, right? She'll be like, that's a really decent idea. We are fully gonna do it in a different way, in with it more elaborate. So it's just kind of funny because you need both, really.
Yeah.
You need
Yep.
both, and because without it, that strength of the team, I like it's funny because um,
Justin, if the guys weren't so good at making it happen, it would be so easy to dream smaller.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But my favorite is our guys can do anything.
That's what I tell my clients.
It,
Or I'm like,
it is
Melissa can
true.
help me with this. Melissa will make this happen. Gosh, yeah, the guys can do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.